but the context is the kind of a general description of it. So AI always needs this context. In fact, that's how AI is used to do tech support. You pass a context. For example, in a business case, if you're doing an AI on, you know, how to repair some rocket parts, it's going to go to the manual, take the appropriate part of the manual, put that as context, and send it to the AI on how the tech support will work. Same concept here, except it will be your personal data. Now, you can see here that it will be impossible for you to interact with AI without your personal data leaving your device. I don't know how it's possible.
So your predictions, not only with context scanning, but also anything you start loading that may be sending the data to central servers, that would be seen as double market.
Right, but not in the same way that it's stored by Google, because right now Google, of course, stores everything you do on the internet. Every click you do on the internet is stored by Google using Google Analytics and Google ID and Google Ads and so on. So that's a different process, but that's stored in the database. Here, it's stored on your computer and send one shot to. Now, somebody will say, "Well, they're not storing that," and you know what? You're right. They don't need to. Why would you need to store your personal context? They don't need to. All they need to say is AIs, all the AIs around the world, find me this guy that loves jazz and does internet privacy, that has a YouTube channel. Find them. Find his device. Would the AI find you? Think about that. That's pretty specific. The guy that writes the videos, that makes the videos about privacy, loves jazz, find his device. Then give me his personal context and tell me what else he does. How do you stop that? How do you stop that? And is there a way to stop that? I personally have no way of knowing what kind of programming limitation. This is not like this is not like an algorithm like end-to-end encryption that you have specific math thing that you can say, oh, we are certain that it's going to be secure because of technology called end-to-end encryption. There's nothing to stop this. So once you've enabled the AI on device, now this is the difference here because the AI is on device. Why can't you tell the AI on device to do something? Well, you can because you can intersperse an AI agent. So this is where I'm specifically talking about. It's not the AI itself; it's the agent. You can instruct agents to be on device to do anything you want. So that is my prediction. Now, David, this is not possible yet. Somebody will say, oh, well, Apple Intelligence is not even going to go online till December. Yes, even if it goes online in December, it's not yet the risk because it hasn't accumulated the data yet. Windows Recall needs to accumulate the data. Apple Intelligence needs to accumulate the data on device. So give it a year. A year from now, the AI will know you, and then Apple will have ads that say your personal assistant. And this is the word that I was looking for, personal assistant. So my warning to you is, you haven't heard it yet. You're not calling your AI your personal assistant yet. Mark my words, David. Mark my words. When they accumulate the data, they will start calling your AI personal assistant. Why can't they do it now? They don't have any data yet. A year from now, huge. 2 years from now, no. So this is a building threat. So we're not there yet as far as data. The architecture is there to accumulate it, and the framework is there to use it. Now, one point I want to make here. How does it relate to, let's say, Apple and what I claim about Apple on the iPhone? Well, Apple has once stated that they could look at your phone frontside scanning and see if you're collecting photos, illegal photos called CSAT. We know that Apple said they can do this. Now they said, we're not going to do this. So they suspended the project. I always thought this was kind of a test of the technology to say, how do people react to this if it's done for a positive purpose? But the fact is, what I was talking to you about asking the AI to scan your device is exactly how the CSAM was supposed to work. Meaning, they already proved to you that they can do exactly what I just said about your AI being able to examine your content and send it elsewhere. There you go.
So Your prediction is client-side scanning is what we spoke about last time. That's happening now, where they scan your device. AI is running locally, scanning all your information. So they've got that information. But the next step is push that to a centralized AI, which they need to do like on an iPhone. If it can't find the information locally, then you can get it to ChatGPT, for example. So that information can be sent to a central AI. But then the scary part comes in now, where a government or whoever could say, okay, find me this person that fits these criteria, or find me these people. And these, through the AI, the central AI perhaps connected to all these mini AI, these are like running on devices, they could find you and find something specific about you. Did I understand that right?
That's correct. That is correct.
So every single device becomes a spying agent for a government or a company, whatever. Um, so unlike in the past where the devices were more dumb. Now the agent running on your phone or your computer, whatever, is an intelligent agent. It understands exactly what you're doing. It can make summaries of that information, and that can be queried. Now that's where it gets scary. Is that right?
That's correct. Now, you even used the proper term, agent, which is
Yeah.
very funny because agent is an official AI term. I didn't make this up. They're actually called agents. An agent is a programming class that runs like a daemon program. So that's the actual official term in the AI lingo. And surprisingly, it really is an agent. It actually matches its purpose. It's a spy agent.
It's an agent running on your device, collecting all this information about you. It intelligently understands the information like you can just say, I can search for like a number plate and find out where that's from. Just search for something in a photograph and get all the information on that information to you very easily. So it understands the context, understands the data about you. It holds this context, like you mentioned, or this profile of you as a person. It understands who you are, knows everything about you. That at the moment supposedly stays on the device for any kind of client-side scanning, local scanning. But in the future, government can agree this information if they want to get access to that. So at some point, government can query everything about you from a central location if they want to.
Right, but there's a part that I didn't mention, and
Yeah.
which is specific to cars, and which is specific to my video on Apple Intelligence, and that is the sensors portion. So we talk about media scanning, scanning Windows Recall scans keystrokes, pretty bad.
Yeah, that's bad for any
Yes.
security
Right,
software
and
that
they say, well, let's read your computer so it's okay. It's your own data. So, but yes, so I duplicated it too. I wrote a program that doing key logging and then having the AI analyze that. I wrote that people should watch that video and show a program with type so you can see exactly how I did that, which is very easy. Wasn't a very hard task to do. It's just not hard for me. How hard can it be for Apple and Google to do? I mean, it took me a day. So can't be like super complex. Now, the problem is the sensor. So now, this is why I specifically focused on the iPhone. Not only is it client-side scanning of media and possibly keystrokes, the iPhone has certain things that it's activated, and you have to wonder why they activated it like this. For example, vocal shortcuts. So somebody said, well, iPhones can always, interpret your words. Yeah, but
Is it
back in
fair
the
to
day,
say?
you used to say, hey Siri or something. Okay. Now, vocal shortcuts doesn't even require any of that. It just reacts to anything you say. Yes, freeze. To freeze the entire mute the microphone is always on. And yeah. The Apple Intelligence never reveals that to anybody else. All the data is stored locally. Yeah, same microphone is running. But that's one sensor. And that dawns on me a lot as well as this right there. The fact that conversations are being listened to and the AI understands your conversation because it's listening and the AI can do, voice recognition and translate that to text back into the AI and then say, okay, this is what they talked about. They talked about buying a car, which Google would love. Google would love this. Then they got the IR scanning. And even I was surprised by this. Did you know that your iPhone is doing this IR scanning to see what's around it? Okay, I don't know what the range from the typical IR is, but IR can reach, the same as your TV, the 10 feet, 12 feet. So it's scanning the environment. So the IR scanner is on the top of your iPhone, and and it's actually scanning movements and shape. It can actually, kind of tell what's happening around it. That's a sensor. Then on top of that, Apple said, "Oh, we're doing eye scanning," and then I have to understand the technology of eye scanning here. You can't do eye scanning with IR. IR is not for IR is more shape related because it's trying to look for heat spots. To do eye scanning, you need a camera. Am I mistaken here? That's my understanding about how eye scanning has to work. The camera has to be on, which means the camera already on, completely on. Again, that's a scary concept. Again, the argument is none of this needs the phone, and yet Apple says a phone will know you well. Well, there's no doubt about that. It's going to know you very well. It's going to know what you're doing at every moment. And this is now part of the data that's accumulated by the AI agent, which can then be fed to the AI as part of your profile. So this is the additional risk of a phone versus, let's say, Windows Recall. Windows Recall doesn't have the capability to sense that because you don't have devices like that on your computer.
Hey, Rob, yeah, you mentioned the US. I live in the UK, and it's pretty relieved after what I said now. Um, but I mean, you just did your search online to see what's happening in the UK with regards to
Correct.
privacy and with regards to how governments or the government is like making decisions with regards to getting access to clean information. They don't want any encryption. They basically have access to everything, and people, yeah, they don't want to delve in that issue. But basically, you can see the headlines recently in the UK, what's going on here. So, I mean, I think for a lot of people, it's okay. Governments are doing things that a lot of people don't like. The US should have freedom of speech. Freedom of speech doesn't necessarily exist in the UK. Um, Again, I can really careful what I say. What can us as normal people do? Do you have any advice about what can we actually do? Would you say don't get an iPhone, don't get a Pixel, no, don't get a Windows computer, don't get a Mac. Do I get Linux or what do I do?
Well, you need to find a device that doesn't have the capability for client-side scanning, and so it's really that basic. And I actually made a video talking about options. And the idea, of course, is to not have some AI on the device. And by the way, you got to be careful with this because I don't want to generalize it saying that all AI is bad. But what is bad is AI controlled by somebody else, meaning they have agents controlled by somebody else. You can have AI on your device that you installed yourself. I do. I'm running an AI on my Linux computer. In fact, most of the AI developers use Linux. So Linux is very well suited for AI use. So that's different when the AI is yours and you control it. In my case, I put an open source AI on it. But what you don't want is when somebody embeds the AI into the OS. Now, I'm being very specific here. AI embedded into the OS. So, to be specific with you, I'm talking about Apple Intelligence, Microsoft Copilot, and Google Gemini. So, you got to stay away from them. So, how do you stay away from all that? Well, one of the safest options, of course, is Linux. So, on the computer, if you're using Linux, it's not going to have any of that by design. And Linux doesn't preload any AI. You can load your own AI on it. That's not controlled by anybody else. So you're good there. So that's one of the. If I were in the UK, in fact, if I'm in the US, even if I'm in China, I wouldn't want any kind of AI on device that I do not control. OS embedded AI. Now there's a lot more options in the phone because there are actually many solutions offered. And one of the general solutions offered is called the Google Phone, which uses AOSP, which we've just got, it's private videos. And then you can also have some other open source equivalents like Linux. Now, at the moment, this is not yet mainstream running Linux like Ubuntu Touch on a phone. So the main popular option is the Google phone and the many OSs that of course can run it as a Google phone. And you could run Java on any of those. You could put any of those into a phone and they'll all be fine, but you're not going to run Google Gemini.
So let me tell you this, Ross. The Google phone. So you do cell phone as well, right? So that's an example of the Google phones, correct?
Correct. So we've been selling our own phones, and we actually provide a service in our store to do the customers did not catch you to do it. But the prior model we had was sold out. Oh, it's a year and a half ago now. So we just came up with a new model that is going to be released in January, and it's on pre-order right now. It's called the Brax 3, and this will be a very, very priced
Kristen?
phone. This is probably the first time that a phone is going to be available at this price level, and that is
How long does it thing bake
we
for?
want to do mass marketing. We want everyone to have access, not just
Oh, yeah.
people who can afford
They
it.
look kind of
So
almost
this
30, I think.
phone is priced pretty much at half the price of even the original Brax 3. It's pretty the Brax 2. So this is very inexpensive.
The other option, and the one that comes to mind, is Graphene OS, or you've got Alex OS. There are various other options. The whole point is go run the default standard Google operating system, correct? Yeah.
Correct. Yes. So don't forget there's another one called IODE, IODE OS. So that's that one that I've introduced. So any of those would run fine. They'll do the job for you.
So run Linux on your desktop, run one of your three Google operating systems. You can always store your don't use iPhone, don't use Android. I think that the problem with these Google code requests, so it's good to hear that you've got another solution for like a cheaper phone if you like, or a less expensive phone. What about like your family? How do you convince them to go on this stuff? Because it's fine for me to have a Google phone, but then my partner has an iPhone.
Yeah. So this I don't know how you convince somebody to leave Google if you're so attached or using an iPhone. You have to believe in privacy. But what happened is a Brax 3 phone, for example, is priced at $279. $279. I'm gonna be honest with you. People are buying it in batches of 4 or 5 because you buy 4 of them and you're just paying for one iPhone. You could almost take the risk and say, okay, I'll take the risk and see if we can use it. Even if you use an iPhone part of the time only, that's already a big deal. So let's say you put certain activities on a different phone, and maybe you use the iPhone for certain things because it's tracking you in your work. So do you care if it's tracking you at work? Probably not. So it's not absolute, but do you want it to be part of your personal life? If not, that's maybe when you switch phone.
So, Rob, as an example, I think you've shared in the past, like you use Linux for certain tasks, but you'll use, let's say, Mac or something like that. That's an example of that, right?
I've actually stopped doing that.
Oh, okay.
So I'm I'm so scared of Windows that I don't want to do anything in Windows. So yes, I can't leave Windows because I'm using DaVinci Resolve and I can't get it to run on Linux, even though it's supposed to run on Linux. So what I've done is have an isolated Windows instance that I own it, and it's so important because it doesn't have any data whatsoever. I don't use my emails. I don't have email. I have nothing on it. So Windows Reader can run on it all day, and it doesn't sense anything because I'm not doing anything on it. So I use it only for editing, which is however long editing takes. It will spy on my editing. I know that and take screenshots of my editing of a public video. No problem. That's all it's got to see.
So if everyone who's watching, Rob and I have done previous interviews, as I've mentioned. I've been both below. I've also put Rob's channel below. Please go and subscribe and show below. Rob, you've created a whole bunch of videos covering this and much more in a lot of detail, right?
That's correct.
So please go subscribe, show below. Rob, thanks so much for coming back to the channel and answering the chat in privacy.
It's always such a pleasure to be with you, David. Thank you for having me.
This is the real package. This is not TikTok.
No,
It's not stuff. It's okay. Just get past that part.
Mad chats. The organization has these are a company of root known as Clocks. And they have a website on the dark web where they keep track and make sure you're who they have. And this has been, now it has been exploited, but Rooted or Progress is trying to get everybody to hack. But
Is it torch?
The first time she saw
Is it torch, please? You got it. That's right.
He seemed to know sort of different from what he
That might have
like during the
walked.
clinic, charismatic kind of personality. Larry immediately captured the attention of the college kids with stories of military valor, which according to him included an integral role in ending the Kosovo War. I learned that he was a Marine, that he had some famous partners.
I remember being somewhere where it was like,
I learned more about how he had taken down Bernard Floyd, and I suppose this brought that went to like the highest levels of government to rip up the Constitution and hurt America. I learned a lot about how he raised Talia. The group of young students were enamored with the patriotic and misunderstood man that stood in their kitchen and told them stories as he prepared food for them all. A home-cooked meal for homesick college kids was a rarity, as were the takeouts that Larry paid for with a wad of cash. It was a time of the students feeling obligated to listen to their friend's father out of politeness, to Larry being someone they sought out when they had a problem. Larry presented himself as a father-like figure, a mentor to the students, and had a way of getting them to open up to him.
He spoke a lot about inspirational things like honesty, principles, like honor, science, and philosophy.
Santos confided in Larry about his personal issues, which included his relationship with his parents. Santos described his relationship with his mother as distant but amiable. But he had conflicting feelings about his father, who had children with other women in El Salvador, something Santos saw as a betrayal of his mother.
I ended up confiding in him a lot of issues that I have with my family, my depression that I struggled with in high school. He seemed very attentive and intelligent, and when my roommate said she got a lot of value from talking.
Larry reasoned with Santos and suggested that his parents were the root cause of the anguish he was feeling. And Santos appreciated having an older mentor to help him work through the difficulties many of us feel on the cusp of adulthood.
From the U.S. border, thousands of people escaping poverty and violence in Central America find themselves trapped in the city of Mexicali.
Tonight, chaos erupting on the border, a humanitarian crisis as questions increase looking for solutions to calm the situation.
The U.S. government's hardline stance on immigration has left them stateless and homeless. They are now being targeted by a vile criminal trade, the buying and selling of human organs. Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Bien, bien, aquí estamos a la orden.
I've come to meet Gonzalo, who has provided refuge to over 7,000 migrants in Mexicali in the last few years. So tell me a bit about this neighborhood. What sorts of issues have you been seeing?
Hay mucha delincuencia organizada, porque nos llega gente que fue secuestrada, violando sus derechos humanos y les han quitado un órgano por haber llegado con la ilusión del sueño americano.
How many people have you personally seen or experienced that have had their kidneys extracted?
Pues han sido unas 20 personas.
What happened to them?
Se fue un grupo, estamos hablando como de 15 personas, a cruzar. Otras personas en los cuales les invitaron sola. El paso a seguir fue que pues se durmieron. Cuando despertaron, uno de ellos me platicó médico que se ladea y le duele la espalda. Y ahí fue donde se sale y tenía poquito sangre, pero a la vez sintió una cortada. Entonces se sorprendió. Él le habla a su hermano y a su primo y llorando así, sin riñón, sin un riñón.
These people were just sedated and tricked and had their organs extracted.
Es el modo vivendi. No es una persona ni dos, son grupos, es una mafia fronteriza.
I knew the buying and selling of organs was happening here, but hadn't expected to find that people were also being drugged and butchered. Mexico's vile and exploitative criminal trade in human organs is fueled by a health crisis across the border in the US. In 2020, nearly 90,000 Americans were waiting for a kidney transplant, yet only 1 in 5 received a donor. On average, 20 US citizens die every day waiting for an organ transplant. This leads some Americans to turn to the black market, but they have little idea about the human misery that lies behind the trade. After weeks of working connections in the criminal underworld, we've made contact with an organ trafficking gang who claim to work across international borders, bringing US patients into Mexicali. They prey on migrants, offering them $5,000 in exchange for a kidney.
I always feel nervous about meeting someone who operates within the black market. That's always something that I get the jitters before going in. Alright, let's go. Pit bull dog. Nice to see you guys. How big is your team? And they include doctors? This is part of your team? Why do you go after the poor people? To get their kidney?
The organ trafficker tells me that he pays off corrupt medical staff to get lists of kidney patients in US hospitals. If they're interested in his service, they have to send him a blood sample.
So your US clients, going back to the US, because that's what I'm really curious about. So you have Arizona, California, Nevada,
Oklahoma. Once the doctor and his gang has tested the sample, he scours the streets of Mexicali for homeless migrants whose blood is compatible with the American client. He lets us follow him as he preys on the most vulnerable.
police everywhere, huh? But is he someone you go after? He's kind of old. Oh, that's what I'm saying. It's like I see.
A few minutes later, another homeless migrant appears.
To my left, there's rows of homeless people just laying on the street. And this guy came from that same alleyway.
People can live with one kidney, but it's a highly complicated surgery. Only the most desperate would place their life in the hands of a black market surgeon.
Organ trafficking, organ harvesting is a hideous crime. For the facilitators, this is just business. They see these people as money, you know. And because they're vulnerable, because there's nobody to defend them there, many of these people are also tricked into it. They will, yeah, even tell them you're young, you know, your kidney will grow back, which is obviously is a medical impossibility. I mean, there are so many risks involved with these illegal surgeries that are performed in places that sometimes aren't even hospitals, in places where there's no hygiene. A lot of these people may become sick. It can also be deadly. A kidney can be sold with $100,000, and then the money that the migrant, the poor people get are a tiny fraction of that. So most of the money is left with the facilitator and the surgeon. It takes a network to develop this type of organ trade, and it's almost always across borders. Because in order for a facilitator of this organ harvesting business to be successful, to make money, they need to operate between rich countries and poorer countries, or conflict areas and economies that are stable, because this is where the money is.
The trafficking gangs work with a network of corrupt doctors across Mexico. Surgeons here earn just $22,000 per year, 14 times less than doctors in the US. So some are easily lured into the trade.
So my fixer just revealed some information to me about a doctor who's been operating in the black market business for 6 years, and we are about to go meet with him. Almost there. So can you tell me a little bit about how you got into the clandestine part of your job? I've interviewed people who recruited migrants off the street to sell their organs. What do you think about that? Who are you operating on? Are your clients American or what are their backgrounds? Are there cartels involved?
una persona que termina secuestrada, porque debía $60,000 queriéndose disparar en un niño. Entonces, pues obviamente pago un crimen, pero ahí sí, no hay acción. Pues tenemos que igual puedes cobrar muy bien por esto, pero igual te obligan a hacerlo sin tanto. Es un doble filo.
He claims the cartels sometimes force him to work for free, but the organ trafficking gang he mainly works for pays him highly lucrative fees. How much money do you make?
Sí, son millones y lo más frecuente. Menos, puede que $40,000. Si es hígado, son $60,000, $70,000. Corazón, pues ahí ya se van a $100,000. Está difícil, está difícil.
The surgeon refuses to tell us where he gets hearts and livers from, but the implication is horrifying. One of Mexico's notorious cartels has been linked to the trade. In 2014, the Knights Templar were investigated on suspicion of kidnapping and murdering children to harvest their organs for sale. There have also been two horror stories about dead tourists' bodies being stripped for body parts in Mexican hospitals. But the scale of organ trafficking in Mexico is largely hidden, as most of the victims can't turn to the authorities for help.
Migrants, because of their illegal status, in most cases, especially on the Mexico-U.S. border, they have no rights. They need the money to cross the border. They need the money to survive, and they have nothing except their own bodies. There are so many people who are missing in Mexico, and nobody knows nothing about their fate. From time to time, they find these fields where lots of bodies are buried, and many of these people are migrants. Many of these, bodies are burned already or chopped to pieces. They can't really go to the police because many of the police in these areas are corrupt and they're working hand in hand with the traffickers. The migrants, being the victims, are not a priority at all for the Mexican law enforcement. There are so many other things that they're focused on, like the war on drugs. The U.S. is trying to stop this migration from Central America via Mexico into the United States. The migrants and their lives and their health is nowhere on the list of priorities, neither in Mexico nor in the United States. So this makes them the perfect victims. They're victims that will not leave a trace.
We've discovered migrants are not the only victims. We've made contact with one trafficker who recruits directly from Mexico's prison system.
Es un intermediario entre el donador y la persona que encuentra el órgano.
How do you get someone to sell their kidney for prison?
O sea, si ellos tienen un recurso económico para poder salir de ahí. Entonces, ellos no fácil.
The trafficker claims his money can help prisoners get back on their feet once they leave. He is desperate to close this next deal.
Are you nervous? Your feet are no?
I don't need emotions.
You have no emotion?
I don't make emotions. Ahora, ¿y cómo le falta para salir de ahí? Ah, sí, ya tengo 5 años, porque luego yo no. Pero yo no veo mucho dinero, pues. Ah, bueno. Oye, y es que, pasa esto, que como, ocupo que tenemos una persona que ocupa mi nombre, no. Ay, qué onda, sí, jalas. Oye, ¿qué te parece si vamos a ver? Sí, conmigo.
You don't feel sad for him?
What's known as transplant tourism isn't just confined to Mexico. A recent report found that organ trafficking generates an estimated $1.7 billion a year globally. There's one country where this trade happens on an industrial scale. In China, it isn't run by traffickers, but by the state.
Disturbing news just out from London. The tribunal found that some of the victims of the forced organ harvesting are detainees from the Falun Gong movement. Former Falun Gong and Uyghur Muslim inmates report they were subjected to ongoing medical checkups and blood testing.
In 2019, an international tribunal accused China of executing tens of thousands of political prisoners and selling their organs on the black market between 2000 and 2005. The organs met a demand from wealthy foreigners from across the globe.
South Korean police say they're investigating an organized crime group that sends patients to China for organ transplants. The Chinese regime banned organ transplant tourism in 2007, but the practice continues, with people willing to pay tens of thousands of dollars to skip the long waiting list for organs in their own countries.
China claims it stopped harvesting prisoners' organs in 2015. But in 2019, the tribunal found that the constant supply of organs available in Chinese hospitals could only be coming from executions.
Makes you think of some grotesque restaurant where you want to pick your lobster in a tank. These are human beings we're talking about.
Chinese surgeon Dr. Enver Tohti was a key whistleblower for the tribunal.
This photo is probably the only photo I can find as a surgeon. This is me.
Once a highly skilled surgeon, he now lives in political exile in London, earning a scant living as an Uber driver.
One day, my chief surgeon asked me, said, "Do you want to do something wild?" He said, "We are going to the execution ground." I was panicking. Why I'm going to the execution ground? Not only me, the nurse and my assistant, everyone was panicking. What are we going to do? Our job is to save people. Why we are going to go to the execution ground? You can see there are more than 10 people got shot already. And they were wearing prisoner's uniform. And the head was shaved, like mine. And then the bullet comes through here and out from here. So this part is blown away. And briefly, do as quick as possible, remove the liver and took it. Then I thought he's alive. My chief surgeon was standing to my left. Said, "Okay, cut here, through, that way, go quickly," because that kind of operation, that in China is legal. It is encouraged by the state. We got brainwashed from this kindergarten. So if anybody got shot because he's executed, that means he's enemy of the state.
This is large-scale illegal organ harvesting, and the targets are Uyghurs, Tibetans, Falun Gong members. These are innocent people who are killed by the communist regime. It seems that Falun Gong members
Yeah, wake up. And now it's not it.
In 2010, a young woman walked into a police part of the story. The woman had been a member of a satanic sex cult since she was only 7 years old. She had been forced into the cult by her mother, and from the moment they became members, their entire life revolved around the desires of a man named Colin Batley. Colin instructed the cult members to move to a cul-de-sac in Kidwelly, Illinois, and there they spent every single second of their lives serving Colin, forced to do the most disgusting and unnatural things. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Summer Sanchez, and on this channel we talk about crimes, cults, and heinous history. So if that sounds interesting to you, please consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you never miss an upload. Today we're talking about the Kidwelly cul-de-sac cult and its absolutely vile leader, Colin Batley. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and briefly talk about today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Love and Pies. Love and Pies is a super cute and cozy mobile game where you follow single mom Amelia Green. Amelia comes back to her hometown of Appleton with her young daughter Kate, and she finds out that her mother's cafe has burnt down and her mom is missing. Amelia has to rebuild the cafe and try to solve the mystery of the arson and find her mom. In the process, she reconnects with old childhood friends and boyfriends, and all of the characters are giving Amelia little bits of information, helping her to put the pieces of the puzzle together and solve the mystery. You get to rebuild the cafe and make fun design choices all along the way. You get to choose decor and flooring, wall designs. I just rebuilt a gazebo and a patio in my cafe. There are a ton of different ways for you to customize your cafe. This is my cafe, and as you can see, I've already rebuilt a nice portion of mine. Still a lot to go, but this just shows you how much I've been playing this game, and you get to actually run the cafe yourself. Customers will come into your cafe and place their order, and you match ingredients to create cookies and pies and cakes, various types of coffees. There are a ton of different items you can create, and you get a dog in the game, and you guys know that I'm a huge dog lover, and you get to name your dog. And I've always wanted to name a dog Chihiro, and I always get voted down by my family, so I named my Love and Pies dog Chihiro, and it's just so cute. I've been playing this game so much lately. It's the perfect little game to just snuggle up with. I love to bake and decorate in real life, and I also love mysteries, so this game is totally for me. And Love and Pies wanted to offer something really special to my followers only. Anyone who downloads Love and Pies within 1 week using my link below and plays to day 3 will receive an absolutely amazing free gift sent to your in-game inbox within 7 days. You'll receive 200 energy and 50 gems, and these gems are very important in the game, so this is a really good offer. Just click the link below or scan the QR code on the screen to download Love and Pies for free. Thanks again to Love and Pies for sponsoring this video, and now let's jump into the case. Colin Batley was born in 1963, and he grew up in East London. His dad was a lorry driver, and the family really struggled for money. They basically lived in poverty. We don't know really anything about Colin's early years, but later in life, Colin did claim that his father had sexually abused him all throughout his childhood. And then Colin himself, at the age of only 12, sexually abused a younger child. And this happened on at least a couple of occasions. I don't know any more than that. I don't know who this child was. I don't know exactly what happened. That's all I know. But this was just the beginning for Colin, because he would basically spend his entire life sexually exploiting and raping young, vulnerable people. So at the age of 19, Colin met his future wife, Elaine. And Elaine was 18 at the time. They had a really quick courtship, and Elaine ended up pregnant with their first child, and so they got married. They had a son named Damien, and then they went on to have 2 more children. They had a son and then a daughter named Hope. Colin worked various jobs throughout these early years with Elaine. He worked as a night security guard at a Tesco. He would work as a street vendor selling like various food items. He also bred Rottweilers and Siamese cats, and he would sell the puppies and the kittens just to make some extra money. Now, at some point in the 80s, Colin became really interested in the occult, and he became obsessed with the writings of Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley wrote the Book of the Law in 1904, and this was basically Colin's Bible. He was absolutely obsessed with this book. Now, I have never read this book, so all I know about it is what I found in my research, but essentially Aleister talked about practicing true will. True will puts a person down their predestined path, but to achieve this, they would need to let go of societal norms, and this was really emphasized when it came to sexual matters. Crowley took inspiration from various other belief systems. He took a lot of inspiration from ancient Egyptians, and this part about the Egyptians is very important because this is something that Colin really honed in on when he created his own cult. And I am sure that there will be people in the comments defending this book. Like I said, I've never read it. I don't know anything about this book except for what I have read for the research on this case. But this case is not about the Book of the Law. This case is solely about how Colin Batley used his interpretation of the Book of the Law to control his cult. In his mind, he now had permission to do whatever vile, unnatural thing he wanted to do. And so he created a world in which sex ruled everything. sex with adults and sex with children became the norm. So Colin is obsessed with Aleister Crowley and the Book of the Law, and he starts to introduce his new beliefs to his wife Elaine and really pushing her into this way of thinking as well. And so they started talking about all of this with their close friends, and they sort of formed this little group of like Aleister Crowley groupies, and they would have these meetings to discuss his writings, and Colin would interpret the writings. But eventually, just sitting around talking about Aleister Crowley and the Book of the Law wasn't enough for Colin. He realized that what he really wanted was to be a leader. So eventually, he declared himself the Prince Priest, and he said that he had a direct connection to the gods, and they told him what to do. He also said that the gods could see everything and they knew everything. And if they knew it, then so did Colin. So there was no hiding anything from him. And it wasn't long before Colin was right at the center of the cult. Everyone lived to serve Colin. In their minds, if they were serving Colin, then they were also serving the gods. So Colin had a little following, and he convinced the members that the church was really big and there were spies and assassins all over the place. This gave the cult members something to fear. Not only did they need to fear the gods, but they also needed to fear the highest members of the church. Colin started holding these bizarre meetings where he and the other members would read aloud from the Book of the Law. They would wear these purple robes, and everyone would be required to be naked under the robes. Then Colin would give a sermon, and then they would have group sex. And Colin simply referred to this whole thing as the church. This is what he called his new religion. And there was a lot of sex involved in the church. There was spouse swapping, lots of threesomes, there were orgies. And when you really look at this group, it really is nothing but a sex cult. That is all everything is based around. Colin just wanted to have an excuse to have sex with whoever he wanted to, whenever he wanted to, and he wanted power. And so he latched on to the writings of Aleister Crowley because in his mind, it justified his desires to do this kind of stuff. Colin thought that living his life by the Book of the Law would allow him to do whatever he wanted to do in life. And what he wanted to do most was sexually abuse children. He could abuse children and then claim that this is what his religion was telling him to do. And some of the members had young children, and the parents became so brainwashed that they allowed their children to be abused by Colin. They were literally giving their consent for their children to be raped by Colin and other members of the cult as well. And Colin would say that this was how they would prove themselves worthy in the church. We don't know how many people Colin abused, but there were a few people that did come forward after this case broke. Katrina Jeffrey was Elaine and Colin's niece. I believe she was the daughter of Elaine's sister. And sometime in the late 80s, Katrina was sent to live with Colin and Elaine. She had been sexually abused by her stepdad, a man named Vincent Robbins, at the age of 2. And by the time Katrina was 15, she started to act out, and she started to lash out at Vincent. Katrina was too scared to tell her mother what was going on, and so she just continued to lash out at Vincent. And it was decided that the best course of action here was to send Katrina to live with other relatives. And unfortunately, these were two of the worst relatives she could have been sent to, and that was Colin and Elaine Patrick. So when Katrina first moved in with Colin and Elaine, things were actually really good. Colin and Elaine were really kind to her. Colin would take Katrina ice skating. He would play games with her. He would take her on picnics. And Katrina really felt like her prayers had been answered. She had lived a nightmare since the age of 2. She had been repeatedly raped by her stepdad, Vincent, but now she felt safe. She was finally in a really good environment. She was being taken care of. She was finally getting the love and attention that she needed. But of course, that was all a lie, because just 6 weeks after Katrina moved in, she was raped by Colin for the first time. One night, Colin sent Elaine and his kids to bed, and he told Katrina that he needed to talk to her. So he sits Katrina down and he says, I'm in a cult, and you can either join or not join. It's totally your choice. But if you decide not to join, you will have to move out. You'll have to go back and live with your mom and stepdad. Now, the absolute last thing Katrina wanted to do was go back to live with Vincent, her abuser. So in that moment, she would have done anything to ensure that she never had to go back to live with Vincent. So she told Colin that she would join the cult. And remember, Katrina is very young at this point. She's only like 15 years old. And she has said that she didn't even really understand what a cult was. But she just agreed because while she didn't know what a cult was or what it meant for her if she agreed to join Colin's cult, she absolutely knew what it meant for her to say no and be sent back to live with Vincent. She would be living in danger every day. She would have to live in fear, knowing that at any moment Vincent could rape her. So Katrina agrees to join the cult. Colin says, okay, great, that's settled. You can go ahead and go to bed. Then just a few days later, Colin tells Katrina that it was time for her initiation into the cult. And this initiation was literally Colin raping his niece. This was how Colin initiated every new young member of the cult. So Katrina thought that she was finally safe. She thought that the constant nightmare that she had been living at home with her mom and her stepdad was finally over, and she would never have to be subjected to that kind of abuse ever again. But now here she was, being abused by someone who was supposed to love and protect her. She got a 6-week break, a 6-week happy period when she thought the nightmare was over, and now here she was being violated all over again. She literally went from one horrible situation to the next, and unfortunately, this was just the beginning. Because Katrina was not only abused by her uncle Colin, but she was also abused by her aunt Elaine. Elaine would also sexually abuse Katrina. She would join in when Colin would rape Katrina, and before long, Katrina was being raped on a regular basis by both Colin and Elaine. After Katrina had been initiated into the cult, Colin gave her a necklace with an upside down cross, and he told her that if that cross ever broke, that she would die. He said the cross represented her life, and if it broke, that was it, she was dead. And of course, the abuse did not stop there. Colin would also bring strangers over, and he would allow them to rape Katrina as well. Some of these strangers were actually cult members, and some were just random people off the street. The people who were allowed in to rape Katrina ranged in age from 30 to 50 years old. Colin and sometimes Elaine as well would sit and watch while these pedophiles raped their niece. And sometimes Colin and Elaine would join in while Katrina was being raped by strangers. On a few occasions, Katrina would push back. She would tell Colin that she didn't want to do this. She did not want to have sex with strangers, but he never cared. He actually threatened her with a gun on one occasion, and on another occasion, he tied a shoelace around her neck and threatened to strangle her if she tried to fight back. And this was Katrina's life now. She was forced to take part in these bizarre rituals that Colin would lead every week. She was also being raped multiple times a week by strangers, by cult members, and by her aunt and uncle. And Colin also started keeping a really close watch over Katrina. She wasn't allowed to go anywhere or do anything without his permission. She was cut off completely from her family and friends, and she has said that she felt absolutely alone. So things go on like this for the next year, and then when Katrina turned 16, Colin informed her that he decided to partner her up with another cult member. This man was given the pseudonym Matthew, and I don't know how old Matthew was at the time, but he is referred to as a man in research, and Katrina was only 16. So Colin tells Katrina that she will now be with Matthew, and he told her to go ahead and go upstairs and have sex with Matthew, and then after that, they were to consider themselves husband and wife. It's very likely that he did this just in case Katrina got pregnant. Colin could tell everyone that the baby was Matthew's. And this was basically the blueprint for how Colin treated every other young member of the cult, especially the girls. The girls were very much the main target for Colin, but he did also abuse the boys in the cult as well. One man later came forward and claimed that Colin had tricked him into having sex with Elaine when he was a kid, and another man came forward and said that when he was a kid, Colin raped him on multiple occasions. And Colin would give each of the members tests, and they were to take part in these tests in order to elevate their position in the church. And these tests always involved a sex act. And no one was allowed to talk to other members of the cult about their individual tests. So like if Colin tested one of the members by, raping them, they were sworn to secrecy. He would say that the tests were protected under the secrecy of the church, and if they told anyone, that the gods would know, and if the gods knew, then so did he. Colin also told his followers that there was no family structure in their group. There were no brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, aunts, uncles. There was only the church. That was all that mattered. He also preached that there was no sin and everyone should live life by their own will. Basically, do whatever you want to do without consequences. And one of the highest positions that you could be elevated to within the church was the position of the Scarlet Woman. This is also something from the Book of the Law, and the Scarlet Woman was supposed to be very sexually adventurous, very promiscuous, and claiming that the tests were protected under the secrecy of the church was how Colin was able to hide some things from Elaine. So even though Elaine would take part in the abuse of some of the children and she would participate in threesomes and orgies and stuff, that was all done under Colin's orders. And typically Colin and Elaine were both involved in some way. So when Colin would have sex with other members of the group, it was okay because she knew about it. It was on the God's orders according to Colin. However, Elaine was not okay with Colin having sex with other members of the cult without her knowing about it. And so by Colin making it a rule that the members could not share the information about their individual tests that they were given, this was how he managed to have a very long sexual affair with a cult member named Jacqueline Marlin right under Elaine's nose. Jackie Marlin was in her 20s, living in London with her two young daughters, Annabelle and Olivia, and her live-in partner, Alan, when she And Annabelle was Jackie's daughter from a previous relationship with a man named David, and Olivia was the daughter that Jackie shares with her current partner, Alan. We don't know much about Jackie's life before she met Colin, but we do know that she was not a very attentive mother. Annabelle has said that she doesn't remember her mother ever hugging her or her sister. She never kissed them goodnight. She never wrote them bedtime stories. Jackie didn't even really speak to her kids. She was just sort of there. She was like physically present, but she was not there emotionally for her children at all. And Jackie's first husband, David, would still come around to see Annabelle as often as he could. He would pick her up a couple of times a month and he would bring her to his house and they would spend the day together. But Jackie's new partner, Alan, was really the main father figure in her life. He picked her up from school, he played with her, he took her to the park, he gave her the support and the love that she was not getting from her mother. Jackie also had a couple of sisters, and they were essentially the exact opposite of Jackie. They were warm and nurturing and caring. I think they knew that the girls were not getting what they needed from their sister, so they sort of stepped in as mother figures for them. So at this point in the girls' lives, they do have some very caring, loving adults around them. They don't have the greatest mom in the world, but they do have other family members who love them and protect them and look out for their well-being. But that was all about to change because Jackie unfortunately meets Colin badly. Jackie quickly got pulled into Colin's cult and she completely devoted her life to him. Jackie slowly pulled Alan into Colin's teachings as well, but Alan was just really going along with whatever Jackie wanted. He wasn't into what Colin was teaching. I think at this point he was just trying to keep the family together. And as far as I know, Alan didn't know about a lot of the stuff that was actually happening within the cult, but Jackie was totally dedicated to Colin, and she and Colin became very, very close. And she totally believed that Colin really was the prince priest and he had a special connection to the gods. So Colin has like this little following around him. It's a small group. There's only about 17 people, but all 17 of these people are totally devoted to him. And they're so devoted, in fact, that in 1997, when Colin announced to the group that he was moving to Wales, all 17 members, including Jackie and her family, followed. It is very likely that Colin made the decision to move to Wales because he wanted more privacy. He wanted to get away from the watchful eye of neighbors. Where he was living in London was very crowded. There were a lot of neighbors around, and he would have a hard time keeping his cult and the sexual abuse of the children secret for much longer. So he needed to move to a more secluded area, a place where he could continue his reign of terror without getting caught. And he settled on the small coastal town of Kidwelly. Kidwelly is located in South Wales, and it's a pretty small town. The population at this time was just over 3,000 people. It's a beautiful little town. There's a castle there called Kidwelly Castle. There's absolutely stunning scenery, lots of natural beauty. Kidwelly was even ranked number 5 in the best places to live list in 2022. And part of the reason why it's ranked so high on that list is due to the low crime rate. There's virtually no crime happening in Kidwelly, but from 1997 to 2010, Colin Batley was secretly running his cult in Kidwelly in a quiet little cul-de-sac. The cul-de-sac is called Cloister Omen, apologies for the pronunciation, and this is where Colin would spend the next several years leading secret church services, conducting bizarre rituals, and repeatedly abusing the children in the cult. So the cult members all slowly trickled into this little cul-de-sac in Kidwelly, and they were spread out over several different houses. Colin had his own house with Elaine and his 3 kids. Jackie lived next door in a house with Alan and her 2 girls. Another woman in the group named Shelley Millar lived a couple of houses up the street, and there was a woman named Sandra whose house was just across the street from Jackie's. There were other members of the cult who lived nearby, but they did not live in the same cul-de-sac. Now, at this point, Annabelle, Jackie's 7-year-old daughter, had heard Colin's name before, but she had never actually met him until one night soon after her family moved to Wales. Annabelle was asleep when her mother woke her up in the middle of the night and told her to get up and come downstairs. So Annabelle gets up and she follows her mother down the stairs, and she sees a strange looking man sitting in the dark right in the middle of the living room. And of course, his name is Colin Batley. Annabelle said that this man scared her at first. He just didn't really look right. Colin was really tall. He was about 6'3". He was very skinny. He had long, black, stringy hair, and he was also missing a lot of teeth. Actually, when Colin spoke, it looked like he only had one big tooth in the front. And so Annabelle was kind of scared of this man when she first saw him. But she slowly walked into the living room closer to Colin, and he immediately launches into this speech about how important she is, how her life was about to change. Colin told Annabelle that her life in the church was now beginning, and she was very special. She was the chosen one. She would one day become the Scarlet Woman. He said that the church would help to guide her, but it was her own path, and she needed to choose choose her actions very carefully so that she will one day make it to the palace. And the palace was basically like Colin's version of heaven. And if she didn't choose the right path, she would spend all of eternity in the abyss, which of course represents hell.